Come on now. Leave me alone. I'm gonna come. No! No, he's gonna get me. Oh, come on. Don't act like you're not sitting around the house doing the exact same thing. So Lisa and I started moving all of our tanks down here a couple of months ago. And we said it was going to be a slow process. We were going to take our time with this and enjoy the whole process. And we've done just that. We've only moved like 2 tanks down here, and then we've added a couple of more. But anyway, I figured with all this downtime, it's time to actually make a big jump and really make a huge difference down here. Really get this project started. So what I'm gonna do is build a couple of racks for Lisa's tanks. She has a bunch of nano tanks all over the house. You know what, as a matter of fact, let me just show you. So there you go. I think she's got like 8 10-gallon tanks sitting around with all different kinds of stuff in it. They're all in different conditions. So it's time to build a couple of racks for those tanks, get them all down here, and then we can actually get this project moving forward. But let me show you a little bit of the process of building these racks. It's not really going to be a tutorial on how to build fish tank racks. I've done plenty of those. I'll put them up in the corner up here, a card to actual like full tutorials on how to build these fish tank racks. This is going to be kind of the same idea, the same design for these racks, but with a little different spin on it. Once I get them all done, I'll show you. All right, so here they are. I know there's probably some echo in this area of the room because we haven't really done a whole lot in here yet, but here the racks are in place, both of them, and they actually look really good. I've actually got them set up exactly where they're gonna go to line up with her 125, which is actually gonna go right here. And then there will be her 75 in the middle, and then the other rack right there. These are gonna house 10-gallon aquariums, 12 of them to be exact. So what I wanna do is kind of give you a close-up look of them to show you how I built them, and maybe give you some ideas if you wanna tackle a project like this yourself. Okay, so if you've watched my videos on how I build racks, you'll see that it is very similar in design. It's got the front rails. It's basically a frame which is actually being supported by this here. And I missed a spot on the paint. We'll go through here and touch it all up once everything is in place and ready to go. But Anyway, this right here, other than the paint that's chipped off of it, it's a very clean looking joint. There's no screws, there's no any of that, even on this side. And that's because I used pocket holes. You actually saw me drilling those. You can't see them. Let me see. Can't find any of them. I did a good job of hiding the pockets. Let's see. Maybe there's one back here. Yeah, you can kind of see them. But anyway, I used pocket holes. And the pocket hole jig is only like 30 bucks. And I used it for all of this, which is really nice. It gives you this clean look rather than having big screw holes that you either have to fill or you just have to look at them, kind of like that. Now, with these being on the inside, it's not going to bother me all that much. Plus, there are some up here, but again, the tanks are going to be covering those up, so not a big deal. So again, if you look at the videos that I did about building racks, it's the same exact design. It's just that I incorporated pocket hole joinery rather than just having visible screw holes. So when you look at it, and if you can picture all the tanks being on there, you're not going to see a bunch of screw holes. So it's going to look nice. It's going to look really good. We got the idea for this kind of stepped design from Nova Tropicals, and there's other fish stores too that have this. Makes it very easy to work on the bottom tanks, and you don't have to lean over too far to get to the top tanks. I would have loved to have gone with a third row, but if you can look at these and see, the third row would be set way back like here, and it might be difficult for Lisa to be able to lean over and get to those. So 2 rows keeps it simple. They're all going to be lined up, and we're actually going to have it lined up where when a 10-gallon goes here, we're going to line up the 75-gallon perfectly. So this will be one perfect straight line going all the way across, and it's going to look really good when it's done. But let's start moving the tanks down here, and then we can have some real fun with this thing. What happened?
Leave me alone.
What is it? What's going on?
Go away.
I'm confused. What happened? Did you spill something? What happened? What is it? All right, we are done with, I guess, phase 2 of this project. Phase 1 would have been building the racks. Phase 2 is actually moving all of the tanks down here. And I actually just realized I've said the word actually like 82 times in this video. Anyway, here we are. The project is nowhere near done. You can see the 75's not down here. This rack has some tanks on it, but they're not ready yet. So there's a reason for that. The 75 is actually, I just said actually again. The 75 gallon that Lisa has full of guppies, there's like 150 of them in there, has like 8 inches of substrate in it, and it's sand, it's all different types of substrate, so it's extraordinarily heavy. So what we're gonna end up doing is draining that out, taking the substrate completely out. That substrate is gonna get spread around these tanks, and then she's gonna do something completely different with that tank, which is gonna be really, really cool. So look forward to that. But because it's so heavy right now, we didn't have the ability to get it down here. Plus, there was a Petco run in the middle of all of this to grab a couple more 10-gallon tanks. It didn't go the way we expected it to go. So we're gonna finish it up probably tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm literally recording this on Monday to upload it on Tuesday, which is something that I absolutely hate doing. But I wanted to show you where we are with it, show you the tanks that we brought down here, because some of these you haven't even seen, and then talk about kind of what the plans are for this thing. All right, so what you see here is 6 10-gallon tanks, and the way you see them right now is not at all what they're gonna look like in probably another week or so, maybe a couple of weeks. Depends on how long things take to get here. We're gonna end up putting sponge filters in all of these that we're gonna order from Aquarium Co-op. Of course, that's where we're gonna order them from. And so once that happens, all of these tanks will be filtered from air and no longer have all of these hang on the back filters on them. I love hang on the back filters, but that's a lot to maintain and everything. Plus, I want consistency, and so does Lisa. So we'll have sponge filters in all of them. There will be individual heaters in the ones that need them, but as far as filtration goes, it's going to be sponge filters. Now, as far as lighting goes, that's another thing. It's been kind of a hodgepodge of lights on this and on all of these as they've been spread out throughout the house. So we're not sure what we're going to do with that yet either, but we will eventually have all of these lit and filtered properly. So we have a tank here of Rummy Nose Tetras. This was actually a quarantine tank that was in our kitchen, which is kind of embarrassing. I'm glad to have it out of there. And those are Rummy Nose Tetras that are eventually going to go with Lisa's discus. And then this is Bubbles. It's Bubbles. If you remember the video that Lisa did about Bubbles, he is not coming into focus in here. Bubbles, he's actually facing the other way in case you can't figure it out. Bubbles is the beta that we have that has no eyes. And so he's a very special member of the family. I'll put a card up in the corner to a video that we did about Bubbles. Bubbles is very special, and it's a very special video. It's one of my favorite videos that I've ever done. This is just another one here that had, I don't even remember what was in here. I think it might have been White Clouds, which I'll show you in just a second. They've got a new home. Right now, there's just a single beta in there. Down here, another one with just a single beta. And these betas are alone in these tanks for one reason, and that is they were purchased as females, but then they became males. Lisa wanted them to go in her sorority, and they turned out to be males, so we got to separate them. This tank here has a bunch of cories in it that are going to get spread out throughout other tanks in the house, but I know you really can't see it because none of these tanks have lights on them. And then this tank has some Ember Tetras in it. They're really, really teeny, and they're absolutely adorable. I'm trying to convince Lisa to give me those to go in with Scott. And I wanted to show you these real quick. These are some golden white cloud minnows. We've actually shown these in a few videos. There I go with the word actually again. But I've shown these in a few videos before. They were in a tank up in the garage, and now they are with the goldfish and just living it up. The goldfish were chasing them around a little bit earlier, but they seem to have mellowed out. So the next step in this project is going to be bringing that 75 gallon down. It's going to go right here in between these. and I'm going to screw these stands to the 75, which again, this is why we didn't finish it, because we got to get the 75 down here, get it pushed all the way up against that rack. Then we'll take this rack, push it all the way up against the 75, have them all screwed together nice and tight. This will be one rock solid little situation here. So it's going to be very cool when it's all done. But got to get the 75 down here before we can do it. So be expecting a video on that, and be very excited for what Lisa has planned for that 75. It's going to be something super special. So I'm looking forward to it, and you should be too, because it involves some giveaways that we'll be doing during our live streams if it all works out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So there you go. Thank you for coming along this journey with me. It was a lot of fun. It's something that I've been working on over the course of about 5 days, putting these together. Had to go and get all the materials for it. You know the drill. So to get to this point, you know, we've been working on it a few days, a little bit here and there because of all the downtime that we have. So it's been a lot of fun. Can't wait to show you the next stage in this project, and that will hopefully be next week. This will look very different. And then in the coming weeks, there will be more changes because we'll be adding things like lights and filtration and all that kind of stuff. We'll keep you posted on all of it. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more on this project, subscribe. Trust me, you're going to want to do that, because what's going right here is going to be something very, very cool to watch. So there it is. I'm done. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you next week.